Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome to the Bear Pen. My name is Aries or Adrian, and it's great to be back for the season finale of Blood on the Bayou. It's been a little bit of time because of scheduling issues and because of being sick, etc. But we are back and at it, and super happy to be here. First up, I want to go ahead and thank absolutely everybody who has been following, everybody who has been retweeting our tweets, liking our things. It means the world to us. And it's just really nice to know that there are folks out there who enjoy what we do. And that's part of why we're here. Aside from having fun every Sunday, it's nice to know that we have you guys viewing and watching, and it's really cool. And next up, I want to go ahead and also mention that we do still have our active partnership going on with Aesthetic Cult. So if you guys would like to grab some really cool Vampire the Masquerade gear or any other gear, really, they have some awesome jewelry. They have, I think you can get cups and stuff made. They do custom orders. If you head to their Etsy shop, which I think you can find the link on screen, and you should be able to enter the code tabletop, and you can see that Glyza is holding up some of their amazing stuff right now, and she just got some awesome earrings, I think, too, right? So yes, if you enter the code tabletop, you will get a discount at checkout, which is really, really great. And I think that's pretty much all of the announcements we have. Oh yes, big announcement. So starting the first Saturday in September, we have our four-part mini-series, which we is going to actually be story told by our amazing Zach here. The Haunting of Mallory Mergot. So we have Elisa Pearl coming on for that one. We have Ree as well, who you can find on Kira's channel sometimes as various different things. Myself, and we have also Murphy Pop or Kawaii Not. You can find her here on Twitch. I think her channel is Murphy Pop Art. I believe it is.
I think so.
Either way, it's a really cool cast, really cool storyteller, really cool show, and super looking forward to that as well. So now that the announcements out of the way, we'll go ahead and have our cast introduce themselves and where you can find them on the internet, and if they are working anything, they're happy, okay to plug it here as well. We'll start with our good friend Ari.
I was not prepared. Hi, I'm Ari. You can find me Small Shadow Snack on Twitter, which is an abundance of possum pictures, my thoughts, and random shenanigans that I get up to online. But here I play Elijah Smith, the resident Toreador, who is absolutely thrilled to be going into the Shadowlands. Cannot wait.
Of course. I mean, it's not like you might be at like a permanent disadvantage while you're there because you're a Toreador or anything. It's not like that. That might be a thing. Um, Next up, we can go ahead and introduce our awesome friend Cassidy.
Hello, I am Cassidy. I'm not doing much right now except this. You can find me on Twitter at awkward_Cassidy, and I am playing Sakura Ami, who is going to get her kid back today, or people will die, or both. Don't know.
It's entirely possible both might happen. Next up on my screen, because that's the order that I'm going in, is our friend Alex.
Hey everybody, I am Alex Hillman. You probably recognize me from here at the Bear Pen and Blood on the Bayou if you've been tuning in. And you might also recognize me from my work over at Hunter's Entertainment and the show Rag and Bone that we do every Tuesday on Twitch. Over here, I play the dual named Nikolai Dietrich and Andre Bissett. Right now, on our screens, I'm still listed as Andre, but most of the Katoria at this point knows me as Nikolai. And yeah, it's been an interesting run, and we're about to dive into Oblivion, which for a follower of the Path of Cain is an interesting prospect to Nikolai. We'll just say that. So I'm pretty excited about that, and obviously excited about getting Ricky back here. And hopefully everything goes smoothly and we all make it back out of the Shadowlands. But we're going into the Shadowlands. Can't really guarantee anything.
It's true. Next up on my screen is Michael.
Hey, I'm Mike, or Sir Monolith on Twitter. I don't spend a whole lot of time on social media at the moment. Something I'm trying to get better at, I guess. I'm playing Quinn here on Blood on the Bayou, resident Thin Blood, who's very fascinated with the morbid new world he's found himself in. And then on Mondays right now we're playing City of Mist, which is a lot of fun with some other cast members here, story told by Adrian. So catch that on Mondays if you're not doing anything. But for now, I'm looking forward to today's episode.
And next up we have Zach.
Hello. I'm excited for the haunting of Mallory Morgot, but at the moment, I'm excited to kick back and hang out with Hakata and some ghosts while everyone else gets into shenanigans. Although I am, as of yet, uncertain which group will be in more danger.
Very true. All right. Next up, we have Eliza.
Hey, I'm Glyza, better known as someone who does not know the meaning of stop. You have too much projects already. I am a podcaster. I am a TTRPG player. I am working on an audio project, an audio drama project, and I'm also starting my own personal journey of learning how to draw. And I really need to be stopped. You can find me all of my links on bio.link/Glyza. I am playing different kinds of TTRPG characters in both Kira's channel and Eris's channel in the Bear Pen. Today I will be playing Michaela, our resident obvious Toreador, the most Toreador of all the Toreadors here, and I am excited to see where how the Shadowland will affect Michaela today. So let's get this, party started, right?
Down to business to defeat the Wraiths? No. Next, next up on my screen is the amazing Kira.
Hi, I am Kira858, and I am playing the sweet bean, lovable, adorable Sora, who just seen all type of blasphemy to his Gokanda nature, is about to nope out of all of this madness and let them enjoy that craziness. As in terms of projects that I'm currently working on, of course, we have Riverwood Academy over at my channel, Twitch. TV/Kira858, where you see some of the individuals here in a cast there. We also have Lords of Faerun, which is every Saturday. We just recently had Josephine Adams in on the stream. It was an incredible session. Still on a cloud nine for that, to be honest. We will be off, of course, for next Saturday due to vacations, holidays, birthdays, etc. But we should be back in 2 weeks. And I will say this, we have essentially 3 new projects coming in the pipeline exclusively for our YouTube channel. Some featuring individuals you may have recognized within the community. It is of course, you recognize from our channels. So again, super excited for those. We'll be announcing those shortly within the next couple of weeks. So if you follow me on Twitter, the Kara858, because I was tired of that 619. You can be able to get all of that information in place and figure out what's happening in the near future. And with that said, I'm good to go.
Awesome. And as always, I am Adrian, and I'm also known as Aries here, and you can follow me on Twitter at the Adrian Bear. And as Michael had said, we have City of Mist tomorrow, so if you guys are around at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow, Monday evening, come and check us out. It's a real fun game. It's a bit of a mini series that I'm telling, and a lot of us here are in it. So you can see Kira there, you can see Eliza there, you can see Michael there. It's a heck of a lot of fun. And that is about it for our things. So the last thing I want to say is we do have a couple of character epilogues, which are going to be starring some very unique people and possibly having some guest stars up on that. And if you would like to, you can come and support us on Patreon for only $2 at the lowest tier. You can get early access to those. They will be early access to patrons for about 1 month, and then we will slowly start putting them up on YouTube. So if you want to get access to those while waiting, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, or preferably jump on $2 a month. You can get instant access the moment they are uploaded. All right, so we are going to go ahead and jump into our intro song. We'll see you in a moment. Welcome back. Revelations 9:11. They had as king over them the angel of the abyss, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in our language, destroyer. Our coterie had made a number of choices to be standing where they're standing right now, in the ruined and deserted village that was known as Frenier, in the swamps in New Orleans, Louisiana, had stood the grave of the, shall we say, much suspected and maligned Julia Brown. Our coterie made their way through a series of investigations and visions and tip-offs to find themselves here with the assistance of the keeper of Elysium, of Prince Madeline's court, and Elise Guthrie of Clan Hecata. They had summoned the wraith of Julia Brown into Elise's body, prepared for the poetry, for the specific purpose, had been 2 human sacrifices, necessary ingredients that would be needed for the journey into oblivion. The ghost of Julia Brown presented Sakura with a choice. Only one would be needed in order to enter into the abyss. For a slightly safer possibility of return, two of the sacrifices could be used. The motivations of Julia Brown were not, shall we say, unselfish, as she had vested interest in both of the individuals that were to be sacrificed. As the last remaining descendants of the town of Frenier, they would be her last fetters to this plane. Thereafter, hopefully, she would be able to pass on. And this is where we begin our evening. As Sakura plunges the knife into the body of the woman before her, pushing, 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 until she feels it break through the skin, cutting into the sheet that had been laid out, almost levitating behind the floating body of the woman, cutting her from sternum to navel. The blood soaking into the sheet behind the now very deceased woman. The wound slowly begins to open and spread out with a darkness like very few in the coterie had ever seen before. As the gap begins to widen and grow, the, shall we say, inhabited vessel of Elise Guthrie takes a few steps back. Reflexively, Sakura and the rest move back a little bit as well. Two enormous hands begin to push through the slit in reality, this widening chasm into the abyss. They are gnarled, a pale gray, as they reach out and push back. A pair of enormous shoulders push through the gap, and a head 2 to 3 times the size of any human's head pushes through. Bald, eyeless, gums receding, and skin pulled tight into an almost ever-present smile. This figure steps through the now open gate. You can see that it's adorned in tattered black robes, and affixed to its back are 6 enormous black wings covered in a myriad of eyes. The figure pushes itself through the gate and stands, clasping its hands before it. Sakura, Elijah, Michaela, and Nikolai. You hear in your heads a voice that is dry, like leaves that have been left out too long in the sun during fall. It is deep, like yelling into a canyon and having it reverberate back to you. And it says, "A pathway lies before you. The dead and the living do not travel this pathway lightly. Are you prepared for what you must endure?"
I am.
I walk up next to Michaela and grab her hand. I am too.
Andre simply steps forward.
Elijah just nods.
The figure moves to the side of the now open portal. What little light there is in the area seems to be drawn into it, much like light would be drawn into a black hole, leaving almost a disk of warped space around it. The body of the sacrifice, long gone. With a long, bony arm, the figure gestures into the portal.
Nikolai will step through.
Sakura will squeeze Michaela's hand and go through.
Yep. Go through.
Elijah, before he goes, he takes out the spare key for his car and throws it to Kira and goes, "Just in case I don't come back, it's yours." And steps through.
Laura kind of looks down at the keys, grabs it, says, "You all come back. You all will come back."
One by one, you step through into the portal. And the last thing that your coterie mates see is the giant figure stepping back through the portal itself. I need the four of you to please make me a resolve and composure roll.
Three successes. Which is the best he could do.
Two.
5 successes with a crit.
Six successes with a crit.
Right. Very good. Sakura. And the rest of you, as you step through into this space, the air around you seems to invert, not just in terms of temperature or direction of flow, but in almost every conceivable sense. It is as if this place is the antithesis of what it is to be alive. The colors in your skin seem to switch places, looking almost as if they are the negative of a film. Stepping out into this landscape, which is desolate, barren, dry. Occasionally, in the distance, you see a very withered, bleached white, leafless tree. But little else marks the landscape, except for a pathway beneath your feet. Leading you forward on this pathway, you see that in the distance there is a large, almost infinitely tall structure, which seems to be composed out of very dark onyx looking material. Its surface is pitted and pockmarked, weather worn. And there is a single entrance to this enormous structure which lies before you. Taking just 2 steps out into the landscape, Elijah, Nikolai, and Michaela witness Sakura collapse in herself into a pile of nothing more than bones and clothes. And then that too gets sucked into itself. She is gone.
What?
Well, that's disconcerting to say the least.
Disconcerting's a word choice there, Kolya.
What?
What happened? Where is she?
Nikolai's going to walk over to the spot where the bones and clothing would be had they not disappeared, and look for any sign of essentially anything. Since this is his first experience entering this realm, he's not quite sure what he would need to exactly look for, but
Make a wits and investigation roll if you'd like.
I absolutely would like to do that.
I would also move closer to see and would like to make that same roll if possible.
Very good.
3 successes for Nikolai.
All
Wits
right.
and investigation, right?
Yes.
Dang it. I only have 1 in investigation. Alright, it's fine. That is 3 success.
3 successes for the both of you, correct?
Yep.
Excellent. There is little trace at all of anything that you can find in the space that Sakura was standing. You notice that even though the space around you is mostly empty and barren, the only few signs of anything at all really are long faded, but visible enough due to the lack of any movement in the air here. Tracks which lead towards the enormous towering structure that is a few hundred feet ahead of you. Takes a few moments more, but all of you begin to notice that you no longer look as you did just a few moments before. Your skin and your eyes and your flesh seems to be experiencing advanced signs of age and decay, almost as if your bodies here are showing their true physical age within the waking world.
Oh no, I'm old.
Nikolai will look over the parts of himself that he's able to visibly see, obviously, so kind of looking at his hands and such. I suspect he's probably a little less uncomfortable about the prospect of his body changing than others that he's with might be. So fairly quickly after looking his hand over, he's going to kind of look up at the structure ahead of them, and all paths appear to point forward.
Yeah, let's get this over with. Let's get this over with. I don't like this place. This place sucks.
Nikolai is going to start walking towards the structure in the distance.
Before
Very good.
Michaela starts to follow, she whispers, hoping that maybe Sakura could hear, and basically says, "Hey, we're gonna go. If you're around, if this is some sort of ghostly thing that's happening right now, and you can see this, just follow us. I guess and then just starts walking."
Very good. Sakura.
You're dead. I'm joking. We'll stop
It had
talking.
taken you
I was expecting it though.
it had taken you just a few steps inside this place, and you had begun to feel an enormous pull deep inside of you, and you could not fight it. And as this force, this relentless gravity pulls you into it, you find yourself standing in what appears to be a war zone. You hear the sound of machine gun fire. You hear the sound of the roaring of various different people, different creatures. The air around you is thick with the smell of smoke and vitae. You recognize you've seen this place before. In a vision that was granted to you through Ricky's memories, through the help of Manuela Luzon. You you had seen this night, which was the beginning of the week of nightmares. What would you like to do?
Do I recognize like every detail has what I saw, or is it slightly different? Am I in a different area, or?
Make a wits and awareness roll for me, please.
Two.
2. You don't seem to recognize exactly where you are. You recognize that there are the same sights and sounds, but the actual location of where you are does not seem immediately familiar to you based upon this vision. However, your location as such is inside what appears to be close to the doorway of a building that looks as if it has been partially collapsed in through some form of explosion. And in the streets, you actually do see that there are several running figures.
She knows this isn't the area where she remembers, but she's still gonna look for Ricky, or the body that was Ricky or will become Ricky, or any semblance of her child.
All right. Looking around this building, you dig through some rubble. You look for any signs of something that might be a body, and eventually under the rubble you do find what looks to be a hand. Digging and moving a bit more of the rubble and eventually pulling some stones off, you see that the hand extended no further than an arm, but there appears to be no body attached under what looks to have been somebody's potentially blown and or ripped off hand, which ended up in this rubble.
She's just gonna keep looking because she doesn't know exactly what's happening, but she knows that where she is where Ricky's meant to be, and that he is why she is here.
All right. Are you confining your search to this building, which is not very large? I will admit it is. It looks as if maybe it went up 2 floors, perhaps. So you are in the downstairs portion. There's a small sort of like 2-story house, really, and then the one wall is sort of destroyed and rubble has come in, and you can find your way up stairs to a mostly ruined 2nd floor if you'd like, or you can exit through what seems to be this open door which leads into the streetway.
And she'll start looking at the house because it's where she is, and if she can't find anything there, then she'll move out. So it's great.
All right, so you have, with that first roll, completed as much of investigation of downstairs as you can. Would you like to go ahead and head to the 2nd floor?
Yes, and I'm gonna do heightened senses for eyes looking.
Okay. All right. As you begin to traverse is not quite a right word because they're just steps. Head up the steps to the 2nd floor. You see that indeed a large portion of this building did seem to get blown away, potentially by some kind of explosion, and you can see out into the sky. It seems as if this specific building belonged to potentially a small family. You see that there is a ruined by not proximity, by right of the explosion, it is ruined, and that it has rubble and it has detritus on it from the explosion. A bed that is in one corner, and but there do not appear to be any bodies or anything upstairs here, but you can see out into the sky around you. Go ahead and make another perception and awareness roll for me. Or sorry, not perception. Wits and awareness roll, and you can add your space
Four.
dice to that.
That is
4
4.
successes. All right. From this vantage point, you are able to get a much better scope or situation of where you would be in relation to everything else. You see out in the night sky, relatively far away from you, the enormous hulking figure that seems to be a mass of darkness and red and tentacles, and you can see occasionally lines of vitae being drawn up into the sky, into this roiling mass of teeth and eyes and shadow and red and darkness, as there are what appear to be occasional fireballs being slung at this thing and rockets being shot at it, and the sounds of screams in the night echo loudly in the distance. But you are able to more or less triangulate a direction of where you would be able to go, which is quite far in terms of being able to get to an area that you seem to remember looked like where Ricky's house was.
She's just gonna book it to where she thinks she can find him.
All right. Okay. And we are going to transition back to the 3 that were making their way towards this large structure. After what seems like a much longer time walking than what it actually is in relation to the distance that you have covered, you eventually find yourself at the foot of this enormous structure. There is a large wooden door that is at least 20 feet in height, and it is currently closed. The wood itself seems to be a form of mahogany that is very, very old, very thick, very, very damaged. And there are words that seem to be written around the top, the lintels, and the sides of this structure. What languages do the 3 of you speak and or read?
Nikolai can both speak, read English and German.
Okay.
Elijah speaks Russian, German, and English, but his German is not very fluent.
He gets us in, and yeah, that's about it. How about Michaela?
Kayla speaks only English.
Okay.
I believe that is all she speaks.
So I will let the 3 of you make an intelligence and academics roll to see if you can recognize what this language is that is scrawled.
That is a 3 with a crit.
You have no idea.
Oh well.
You two have no idea.
Six.
Not surprisingly, the ex-Sabat member recognizes the writing that is scrawled above the lintel and the doorposts of this doorway. You have seen fragments of it. Very few of it has been translated in its entirety. It is seen as something very holy when people do find it. But this script you recognize to be Enochian.
Fascinating. I suppose not entirely unexpected. Do I have any general sense of this the script that's written here? Do I view it as like a warning, or do I have like any kind of sense of like what its interpretation would be, or is it just something that I've kind of stumbled across before?
A little bit of both, in terms of there are so few texts that have survived since those times, and so few objects that anything that has survived is very, very jealously hoarded and not shared with people for the most part. So translations are few and far between in terms of being able to actually understand Enochian. The most you can get out of it is at least recognizing the script of one of the words, which in a loose translation could mean abandoned, abandonment, or abandon. But the rest of it is, you know what it is, but you don't know what it says.
Well, put up or shut up, I guess. So Nikolai's going to go ahead and see if he can enter the structure.
Walking up to the door, as you place your hand upon the doorway, Elijah and Michaela witness as Nikolai's body disappears into a pile of bones that gets sucked
shit.
in upon itself and is no more.
That's fantastic.
If he survived that, and I see him again, I am going to drop him in with his alligator cousins.
Well, what should... Do you want to go that way? Or do you want to wait here until we turn into dust like Sakura did?
You know what? I'm old at this point. What's the worst that can happen? He's gonna put his hand on the door.
Yeah, Michaela swiftly follows and just like, alright, whatever, it's fine. If it's my time to go, it's my time to go.
That's Elijah's thought. Elijah's like, the worst thing I do is I wake up and there's a bunch of my family members who are already dead who want to hit me with something. Like, let's go.
Excellent. We are going to transition for a moment to those outside of Livia. Kenny, Quinn, and Sora. You did not see the giant figure that made its way out of the portal. You witnessed the sacrifice of the two people. You witnessed the young woman's body disappear into this opening in reality. To almost everyone's eyes except Kenny's eyes, which unbidden during this process have coated over in blackness. It seems as if there is a darkness in the area and a wind that is being sucked into this darkness. With Kenny's eyes, you see the open portal to the abyss. As your coterie mates step in and disappear, you hear the voice of Julia Brown come through the keeper's lips. My ties to this place are dissolved. I thank you, but I do not envy any of you. Her head slumps a little bit, and you see that a different look enters into the eyes of Elise as she is once again in full control of her own body. She stands unspeaking, power still coursing through her and flowing out into the edges of this portal, strands of oblivion licking off of her body. You can tell that she is intensely concentrating. In the silence that follows, I would like the three of you please to make a wits and awareness roll.
Hey.
Two successes.
Two successes.
Slynn's feeling exceptionally aware right now. It's 2 out of 3.
Total failure, no bestial.
All right.
5 successes.
5 successes. All right. Perhaps Kenny and Quinn are too disturbed to pay enough attention. Sora is past the point of being disturbed into the point of paranoid worry. And you notice that the body of Elise, while having the look of concentration on her, is visibly shaking. The strain of what is taking place here is absolutely immense. And Sora, you also notice quite acutely that it has been getting steadily colder and colder and colder. And the wind that had been heading into the portal is also beginning to pick up more and more.
Sora starts to dart around his environment, his surroundings. Licking his finger real quick, touching it to the wind to see to recognize, like, oh, it's getting faster.
What's getting faster? What's getting faster, Sora? What are you talking about?
Something's very wrong here.
Well,
it was always been wrong. It's always been wrong, but it's getting worse. Like,
I mean, they killed a couple of girls in front of us. What do you want?
Yes.
Like,
I know. I couldn't believe this was part of the but no, like you can see she's like shaking, and then there's like the wind is picking up, and it's getting colder around here. So something is happening.
So I guess my jacket. I didn't notice.
Sora, did you truly believe that we could open a portal to hell without some of hell escaping?
I don't know how that works. Remember, I believe in Golconda. I don't know how this madness happens. I believe in...
That's a portal to hell?
Yeah, where is this portal to hell? I don't see this portal to hell. What are you talking about?
More or less.
Wait, you can see it?
Quinn pulls out a little notepad.
Yeah, he kind of like you see Sora go into his backpack and pull out some reading glasses just to be able to make sure that he's just not blind. He kind of like pushes it against his hand and he looks around. He's like, "No, I still don't see it." I haven't.
Unfortunately.
I would like to ask each of you, please, to roll a d10 for me.
Just a D10, no blood dice or anything?
Just a d10.
This can only be good.
Yep, I've never heard a roll like this before. Okay.
Got a 7.
4.
7.
It's not good. 4.
4. All right. So, Kenny and Sora, I would like you, please, to make me a stamina and resolve roll.
Oh, this actually is my best pull. Okay. Stamina. Is this also associated with like a mind affecting ordeal where I can use like a stable mind? Okay.
Not at all.
All right, just making sure. Beep, beep. Yeah,
this is like raw hellfire energy.
4.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's about right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 successes.
6 successes. All right. So, Kenny and Sora, both of you feel that this wind that has started to increase, and it is now becoming a lot more visible to all of you that are assembled, is really starting to howl and pick up quite a bit. And you feel a massive force slam through both of you, but you do not feel that it is a physical force that is moving through you. You feel it is as if something has been trying to rip through your very essence, that which keeps your undead body animated. And for a moment, Quinn, you witness as both Kenny and Sora go extremely still for a moment, their entire expressions frozen, and then their bodies start to move again. Kenny, you, with your eyes already coated over now in uncalled for but unstoppable oblivion, see, once you are able to move again, that there is a very large form of, shall we say, it looks as if it is made out of mist and shadow and bones that has been pulled through you, and you can now witness that there are more rising around in the distance of these shapes and forms that are beginning to coalesce in the area.
Is everything okay, guys? You look a little shook.
This place is no bueno. We need to go.
The dead come.
Why am I not surprised? Why could it be super easy? Why couldn't it just be like, you know what? How about you just go in this whole like Looney Tunes and then you can just come out with the No, it had to be something that's difficult. Why? let's go. We gotta get out. It's too dangerous. And I'm pretty sure the others are fine. They don't need us. They got Nikolai and Elijah who could pretty much shoot up entire armies. We're pretty much good.
Let's go to hell, they said. It would be fun, they said.
Everyone make me another perception and awareness roll. That fan says roll for initiative. That's one.
No, not now. Not now. Not to my sweet bean. Okay, what? You know what? I'm going to arouse the blood because I'm in paranoid mode. So just give me just 1 second. All right, I don't get hungry, unfortunately. I'm going to add.
Yeah, so if 10s just have you re-roll the 10 to see if you get another success, right? No?
I'm going to use willpower
No,
for that.
that's B20 rules. 10s count as
Okay, there we go.
2 if you have more than 1 10.
Oh, okay.
And you
so
also have to be aware of if one of those is in your blood dice, because you can get a messy critical as well, which affects things.
Yeah, no, it's just 1 10.
I use willpower. Oh, sorry. I use willpower. I got 5.
3, 5. All right. So Sora, again, in this, you can hear just barely the kind of lispy voice now, as she is missing 2 of her fangs. A voice of Elise muttering just under her breath, saying, I need to keep it open. I need to keep it open.
It looks like the lady is having technical difficulties.
There's one that's forming close to us.
One what?
Yes, it is busy coalescing and taking form here, and you can see that there are at least 3 or 4 more that are around the area, Kenny. But the one that is forming, you can all start to see it now in physical form as this creature coalesces in front of you, which seems to be slightly maggot colored and lizard shaped.
What are those?
Its legs bending in odd directions, and its head seems to be almost inverted in terms of a normal human head, but its face seems to be made out of what you would consider to be a masquerade mask, but made out of this paley maggot colored flesh. And it is looking at the 3 of you, and it is now attempting to start to, it looks as if it is a backwards forward run towards you in quite speedy fashion. All of you roll me another d10 for me, please.
9.
9.
Man. Take that, you bony looking maggot looking thing. Okay.
2.
Oh no.
All right.
Oh.
Kenny.
Uh-oh.
This thing is coming towards you, and this backwards mouth on its mask-like face seems to open up and is filled with a more of really sharp-looking teeth, and it is going to bite into you there. You can make me a dexterity and athletics roll here, please.
Can I sick Lagatha on it?
In just a moment, you can.
Okay.
Don't worry. Quinn is exceptionally underwhelming in combat.
8 successes.
Of course. It bites down onto your flesh, but its teeth seem to gain purchase in the cloth of your pants as it rips nothing but material and cloth away. You have a hole in your nice pants, but you are not missing any flesh. And we are going to take a moment to jump back to those inside the labyrinth. Elijah, Nikolai, and Michaela, would the three of you roll a d10 for me, please?
7.
7.
I actually had to find one of my non-vampire D10s real quick.
Same. Give me a minute. I'm looking for my non-vampire stuff.
9.
9. So that was,
7.
sorry, it's 7 for Elijah, or was that 10? 7? All right, and okay, so 7 and 7 for the Toreadors, and 9 for Hearts and Easy. Very good. So we will come back to that in just a moment, as we are going to take our break.
Oh, damn
And
it.
we will see all of you back in the wonderful, wonderful land of oblivion after our break time. And welcome back. Michaela, you find yourself seated on a very, very stylish piece of furniture. The walls around you are very, very familiar. This is the home that you had spent quite some time getting accustomed to shortly after you returned by your sire. You find that you are currently manacled to this chair and manacled to the floor. And you hear some sounds coming from a room just out of view to you, but in this open plan apartment to your right. Would you go ahead and make a perception and awareness roll for me, please?
All right. Yeah, fine.
Oh, sorry, wits and awareness. My bad, yes. Wits and awareness.
That's what I was looking for. I'm like, perception.
Yeah, no,
Where
there's
is
no
it?
perception. Wits and awareness. Sorry, different rule set.
So I got 5 success with 2 crits.
Okay. So you hear a humming. And you hear the sounds of. It sounds wet. It sounds floppy, I guess is the best sound you can accustomed to this, but also sounds as if there are the sounds of occasional stitching and or threading going on while this humming is taking place. And after a while, this sound sort of stops. And the humming continues though. And into view, you can hear a wheeling sound start, as if there is a rack of some sort that is attached to wheels that is being pushed into the room. And this is indeed what you see, as hanging on a mobile coat rack, there is on one of the handles a now fleshless body that is dangling off of it. And on the other coat rack, there is what appears to be the removed skin of the individual that was next to you, that was occupying the flesh. And there is a very, very handsome man, darkish skin, olive colored eyes, his curls perfectly done, but his immaculate suit splattered with blood. And he has a look at you and says, "Oh, my dear child, don't worry. I've solved everything. No one will ever know. No one will ever know. You see, this one here, this one, I mean, you can tell that it might still be alive, but it came out right. It is, and you can see that this body that is now fleshless wriggles a bit on the hook of this standing coat rack and lets out a bit of a moan and says, this one came out right. This one is a real Toreador. Don't worry. We're not going to keep it. I want you. I chose you. No one will ever know now. No one will know that your blood is not that of a Toreador. All you need to do is put on her skin, my child, and then everyone will never know that you're a caitiff at all. Here, why don't you come a bit closer? And he moves his hand, and you find that the chair, along with the manacles, moves closer to you. And he unlocks these manacles, and you find yourself rigid and up in the air, moved by invisible threads, as he begins to try and slowly put this meat suit over your body.
It's a good thing that Michaela isn't an actual Toreador. Gasp, I know. Because this is obviously very disgusting, and Toreadors are known for not liking disgusting things. Do I know if this is a memory or if this is a new situation?
This is a new situation.
Okay. I look at my obviously my sire, and I'm like, this isn't real, is it? You're not really here, are you?
Hold still as he's trying to push the viscera-covered head of this, potentially one of his other childer, over your face and eyes as the wet blood seems to come down on your face. The smell is quite potent, as the vitae drips onto you. It's not quite right. It's not fitting quite right. Don't worry, Michaela, we have others.
It's not going to work. Nothing we've done has ever worked. This
We have
is not
so many, and
going to work.
You feel your chair turns around and he gestures to a closet where you see that opens up, and inside are just rows and rows and rows of these freestanding coat hanger meat hooks with dozens of wriggling bodies and skin suit after skin suit in it. We'll keep trying until one fits, my dear. Don't worry. Everything's going to be fine.
This is not real, because the sire I know would not have actually done this. This is not real. Because Michaela has spent a lot of time with her sire, and though that sire is obviously messed up, he would not do this, and you are not my sire.
Make a composure and resolve, please.
Ooh,
Composure and
that's my
resolve roll.
biggest roll. So I'm gonna do a willpower reroll.
Okay.
All right, that's 7 successes with it, with 2 crits.
You see that your sire has moved off to fetch a different skin suit in this closet, as your body is shaking against this force, and you find that your right foot has managed to move forward and break out of these manacles that were still chaining it, and you are able to take another action.
So my right foot is out, but everything else
Yes.
is still manacled.
Yes, so now your 2 feet to your hands are no longer manacled, but you were
Okay.
held in place by this invisible force.
Okay. Is my other foot manacled still?
No, because you have broken the one
Oh,
manacle,
okay.
so that they were sort of manacled together.
Oh, okay.
The one foot has been able to move through this invisible force, but
Okay.
the other is still stuck in place. And you find like the rest of your body is still stuck in place.
So I'm going to try and move my arms with, just willpower, I guess, because just trying to see if I can. Because I don't believe this is real.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna use my willpower to break away from it.
You see that your sire has come back with another dangling meat suit in his hand. He says, "What are you doing? You're being so insolent, Michaela. This will not do. This will not do at all. People are going to find out, and where will I be then?" Make another roll like before, composure and resolve.
This time it's a 5 success with a crit.
You are able to move your other foot forward, and you are beginning to feel that your left arm is also able to start moving. You're able to take another action.
I continue to start moving away from him. Also still saying, "You're not real. You're not my sire. My sire, though he was disappointed, was never scared. And you are scared."
Make another roll for me, please.
Just gonna bullshit our way out of this. That's a 4 success. Damn it, it's going lower.
Well, I'm rolling like dog trash today, so it's all right. You find that you are able to move both of your arms, and you are sort of moving forward. You have a final action that you can take. What would you like to do?
Now that I can move both my arms, Michaela just punches him in the jaw.
All right, make a another resolve and
Composure?
composure roll.
Oh dear lord. Please roll high. Haha! That's 7 successes with 3 crits.
Well, however, will his 3 beat that? You punch, and there is a loud shattering sound. We are going to transition to Elijah. Elijah, you are in a very familiar house. The sound of the gramophone is playing one of your favorite tunes. And just out of earshot, you can hear the sound of your sire, Yelena, and she is saying, "Darling, there's going to be the most fabulous burlesque show tonight. I think we should attend. Make a wits and awareness roll for me." you begin making your way out of this room into the adjoining room where you see that your sire is busy looking through a newspaper, and she has one of those very long cigarette things in her hand as she is busy reading through this newspaper. She is sat on the edge of the desk, and her leg is one leg is sort of crossed on the other, and you are getting close to her, and you hear a sound of whistling coming.
Can you see the date on the paper?
You can indeed.
What's the date?
It is the date that you expect it to be. I need you to make a dexterity and athletics roll for me, please.
Rapid reflexes apply?
It does.
So that I would add.
You can, yeah, you can add your celerity rating, I believe. Yes.
Makes us a lot more dice. Didn't matter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes.
All right. Seriously, I think these are cursed or something. It's absolute garbage. You are able to move out of the way as a loud explosion takes the area, and suddenly you find yourself in rubble. There is fire all around you as a beam has pierced directly through your sire Yelena's heart. She is unmoving, but a look of horror on her face.
Okay.
I need you to make a resolve and composure roll for me,
It's not his best roll. 2 successes.
please. I think you are able to take an action.
He's gonna step towards the door. Okay. We all know how this usually works. This has worked one way, and it's always gonna work one way, because you are very dead.
Hear a voice come out from your sire, which should be impossible, that says, Ilya, where are you going? Come back. Help me.
Sorry, Lena.
So you are reaching for the door?
Yeah.
As you open the door, everything flashes back. You are seated on a chair. There is the sound of the gramophone playing one of your favorite tunes, and you hear a voice coming from the other room. Darling, there's a wonderful burlesque show happening tonight. I think we should attend. And the sound of the whistling begins again.
You know, why don't we go to Paris? We'll go see Angelique. Her burlesque is better than anything in Berlin.
Make another composure and resolve roll.
2 successes again.
2 successes. All right. So she says, well, I don't know. It's a little bit far this time of year, and the explosion hits again. You find yourself standing at the same point.
Okay,
With
door didn't
Yelena
work.
on the ground, the fire beginning to engulf the building, her unmoving body.
All right, door didn't work. He'll go and try to pull the beam up.
Okay, make
It's
a composure and resolve roll for me, please.
It's like, this never works. This never works. 1 success.
1 success. All right. The weight of the beam is too much for you to handle, and you find yourself flashing back to the same point before the bombs hit. And you also take 1 point of aggravated willpower damage. The
Okay.
bomb strikes again, or is about to strike again in a few seconds.
He's gonna go to where she's at, grab her hand, and try to pull her into the basement.
Alright. Make another resolve and composure roll for me. But I want you to add 2 successes.
Makes it 3.
You begin to pull her with your preternatural speed towards the basement before the bombs hit. And you are holding her in your arms as flames begin to consume the entire building. And we are going to jump to Nikolai. Nikolai. You are standing in the hospital where you oftentimes find your meals and where you do your work as well. Standing next to you, there is an attractive man, slightly olive-colored skin, curly, messy blonde hair, green eyes, bit of a hawked nose. Something about him seems familiar, calming. And he is looking at a patient that is lying in bed. You can tell by his chart that he is a terminal patient. He has a form of leukemia. And he is looking at the person and says, "This one had a long life ahead of him. It is unfortunate that it will end so soon. Don't you think, Nikolai?"
He kind of looks around his surroundings and looks the olive-skinned man up and down. Entropy is the only constant in this world.
You think? And what of the gifts that I have so freely given to my children? Are they beholden to this entropy as well?
Yes.
When you see this one before you, what are your thoughts on him?
I feel nothing. Another life lost to the winds of time.
Man nods his head. And quite suddenly he's standing behind you and gently places a hand on the small of your back. Nikolai, you find yourself filled with an overwhelming and absolutely radiating sense of wholeness, oneness almost, as you feel something kindle in you that hasn't been there for a very long time. For the moment, you are experiencing this scene as if you were at 10 humanity. The bed shifts in front of you, and you are made to witness scene after scene of you witnessing yourself taking life after life after life. How would you feel Nikolai would be reacting in this moment with this renewed, almost definitely supernaturally higher level of humanness?
A combination of confusion and disgust. Confusion of how he could possibly be what he's seeing in front of him. And disgust with the flippant nature at which he appears so readily willing to end a life.
Please make a composure and resolve roll for me.
Can do. Four successes.
4 successes. You find the image before you has shifted to one that is one of the more brutal mass embracings that you took part in during your time in the Sabbat. There are humans running, screaming in a building that was filled with squatters, essentially. People very down on their luck that had managed to come together. And you see yourself about to bite into the neck of a young woman that is before you. You are able to take one action.
He will step between himself and the young woman.
Very nice. You push your way between this, from your perspective currently, beastly creature that is about to devour this woman, and you feel your own fangs sink deep into your neck. Make another composure and resolve roll for me, please.
Ooh, that's better. 7 successes with a crit.
7 successes with a crit. The image shifts and changes and resolves back into the image of the olive-skinned man and the patient who's terminal on the bed. And he asks you again, "And how do you feel about this man, Nikolai?"
I feel pity for him. Pity that with the gifts that I possess, that I might have been able to do something more for him. Instead of snuffing him like a candle.
Make a composure and resolve roll, and you may add 2 to this roll.
2 dice or 2 successes?
2 successes.
Okay. Six successes with the 2 successes that you were giving me.
6 successes. The scene around you shatters. Your humanity is not back at what it was before this ordeal. It is 1 higher. So I believe that brings you back up to 6.
Yet still not quite where I was when I turned, but...
Sakura, we will come back to you in just a moment, but we're gonna jump outside. Outside the portal, Penny and Quinn and Sora. Things have started to get pretty heated up outside. More of these creatures have begun to resolve form and change. Some of them are tall and standing. It would be very easy to label what you are seeing as misshapen abominations. There are at least 6 of them now, which are some rushing towards each of you, some of them rushing towards Elise Guthrie as she is attempting to keep this portal open. What would you like to do?
Kenny is going to draw his gun, and while engaging evasive maneuvers, try to shoot the ones that are approaching Elise.
Alright, so this
He will
will be...
also, throughout this encounter, start uttering some words under his breath. I will read them quickly to you now. Vengeance is mine in recompense for the time when their foot shall slip, for the day of their calamity is at hand, and their doom comes swiftly.
Nice. Alright. You are attempting to duck and dodge, and you are attempting to fire at the same time. So, this is going to be 2 actions, one of which will have a penalty on of -1 dice.
Well, I do
Which
have.
one would you like that to be?
I do have rapid reflexes. If that helps me fire
That
more
does.
easily.
That will negate the dodge penalty if you wanted to take it on dodge. All right. So go ahead and make your shots. Make your shot at least on the one, as one of these creatures is coming towards you, and you can see that it has a long, bony, almost praying mantis-like hand that is sweeping towards you.
So just to be clear, I'm trying to actually avoid the ones that are coming towards me and shoot the ones that are coming
Yes.
after Elise. Okay.
Yes.
So, what Sora would like to do is pretty much frog leap using soaring leap into a tree. So where there's like a nice safe distance where I could be able to look down upon and feel a little bit more safer. And ask Lagatha to shoot forward like a Pokemon and attack the creature that is attacking our good friend Kenny.
Excellent. I shall tell you what to roll in 1 second.
No, right.
That is 7 on the shot and 5 on the evasive maneuvering.
Oof, that is very, very nice. So the shot does take one of the creatures that is rushing towards Elise, and it stumbles and reels back, and you are able to move out of the way as Sora is trying to engage a double maneuver here. So Sora, first make a strength and athletics roll for me to see how well. Well, no, we'll make this dexterity athletics because we want to make sure that you stay in the tree. You can leap there, no problem, but we want to make sure that you are dexterous enough to keep your footing.
Ooh, okay. Well, you say athletics. Okay, I'm pretty good at athletics. I'm good at. I can't use. Would dodging work here as?
One of the creatures is rushing towards you, so this is technically part of your dodge move. So yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Perfect. Oh. Oh, okay. That is 5 successes with a crit, which makes again perfect sense because he does not want to get hit by anyone. Again, he is made of Sour Patch.
You are able to jump out of the way, but not before one of these creatures chomps down and rips a gash in your leg. But you do not take physical damage. You take 3 points of aggravated willpower damage.
I do?
You do.
Oh, 3 points.
You are in the tree, and you are aiming this dog for the one that is that Kenny was going to attack Kenny.
Okay. So I take 3 points of aggravated willpower damage. Okay.
Yes.
Youch. That hurts just a little bit. Okay. In that case, yeah, I guess now I'm in the tree. So I guess we have Lagatha essentially attack the creature.
Yes. Go ahead and roll for it. Kenny was successful in his dodge, so Lagatha will have a. I'm going to give a bump of 2 to this because it was trying to attack Kenny, so it is distracted. So you can add 2 successes to whatever you roll for Lagatha's attack.
Okay.
And depending on how that goes, if the one that was still going after Kenny is still going after, is still standing or visible, probably wind up attacking that one too.
Hey, so you giving me 2 successes as well?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess Lagatha must be really upset that I got attacked because she got 8 successes total.
Yeah, without an issue, Lagatha bounds into this one and knocks it down to its feet and is busy ripping off pieces of ghostly manifested flesh. But she would tell you, if she had the time to think and talk, that it's very weird. It's like biting into very thick marshmallow. It's very strange, but it doesn't taste very good at all. So Quinn, that one is on the ground. So again, there is one that is rushing towards you. There is still one that is rushing towards Elise.
So there's one rushing toward everybody, And then Elise. Fine.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I rolled already, so I rolled 3 successes on an athletics dex check to try and like
To try dodge.
avoidance. Yeah. And then
Okay.
also 3 successes on the attack with my sawed-off shotgun toward the one that's going toward Elise.
All right.
Since I feel like it's probably important to keep the portal from being destroyed. Maybe.
Okay. So this one that is sort of barreling towards you, its head looks like some sort of deformed, oddly demonic hammerhead shark thing that is rushing towards you, and you don't dodge in time, and you take one of these weird horn things to the gut, but again, you do not take physical damage. You take 1 point of aggravated willpower damage. The shot towards the one that is coming to Elise here.
Fortitude doesn't factor into that at all, right?
No. These ghosties do spiritual damage, not physical damage. All right, the one that is going towards Elise is actually hit and does not manage to sort of knock it off, so it comes stumbling onto the ground.
Is the damage done the number of successes? I don't know how it goes in V5.
The damage is the difference.
Oh, okay. Well, it does. I think the sawed-off does aggravate it too, so that's why I picked it.
Yeah. These things are a little bit different.
I know.
They only take they only take damage when they are solidified. Right?
Yeah.
They do not take damage if they are elsewise, but they can lose their corporeal form.
She got rock salt.
So some of the ones that were attacking and disengaging, they scamper back, and you can see that they're starting to lose cohesion and form as they begin flowing directly to the portal, and you can hear a very large screaming, wailing sound as these things begin rushing all directly to the portal, as they begin to coalesce and form and join up as something else seems to be stepping out through the portal. It appears to be a mass of conjoined flesh, several heads and teeth. It has got one very large and oversized arm and hand, and one small one that is coming out of its arm. It has one oversized leg and one shorter one that is sort of pushing itself as these other beings are moving and coalescing into it, as there are several screams and such as they are pushing through there. As it is pushed through the portal. Yes.
No, go ahead. Please continue. Sorry.
As it has pushed through the portal, I need everyone to make me a composure and resolve roll for me, please.
Would bioswable my work with this one by chance?
Yes.
Perfect.
Right, that's also good for me.
4 success. Yeah, it's a minimum 6 for success, right?
Yeah, minimum 6.
Yeah.
Okay, 4 successes. Yeah.
Okay. 5 successes.
Okay.
4 successes.
Oh, sorry, 6 successes. 6.
All right. So this thing lets out this discordant, ear-piercing screech, and all of you find yourselves shaken inside your core, but you are unaffected by it. However, you notice that Elise, as I rolled for her as well, drops to her knees, begins shaking, and passes out as the portal is gone. And you have this massive thing in front of you. And we're going to switch back to Sakura for a moment. Sakura, you have been running and running through these streets, through people that are shooting and people that are flinging abilities and spells, and occasionally one of these tendrils of darkness and redness lashes out and hits somebody near you, and their body is almost instantly vaporized and turned into this cloud of misty red. And you begin to notice around you that there's been something odd in all of the faces that you've seen that have died, that have been taken, that are injured on the ground. You recognize all of them as they are a young man, which you had been very dearly fond of. Essentially, your brother, in a sense, by the name of Ian.
Every one of them looks like Ian.
Every single one of them that has died or that has been lying dead on the ground, and all of the faces of those that are being killed and those that are suffering and those that are hurt, you witness around you now as each and every single one of them has the face of Ian. I need you to make a composure and resolve roll for me, please.
Three successes.
You stop as there is a bleeding, leg blown off young man crawling on the ground next to you that calls out to you, "Sakura, please, I need help. I don't feel so good, Sakura. This feels really bad." And you take 1 point of aggravated willpower damage. What would you like to do?
Just keep running.
You feel that even in this place, your eyes are beginning to pour with the tears of vitae that are staining your cheeks, and you grit your heart. You continue running. And after some time of this happening again and again, you feel yourself getting a little bit closer, but you come to a group of people as 1, 2, 3 tendrils of this darkness lash out and hit people, and their faces once again turn into Ian as he is crying out in pain, "Please, Sakura, help us." Make another composure and resolve roll for me, please.
She's just gonna shout out to him, "I can't save you, I can't save Ricky," and just try to keep running.
Alright.
Because she knows that this isn't him. 3 successes.
It is becoming more and more difficult to say no to these people as you push and grit through the tears, but you take another point of aggravated willpower damage. You are finding yourself close to the building where you had witnessed in your visions the birth of Ricky as he is now. Make a wits and awareness roll for me, please.
Add anything to that, or just straight with awareness?
If you want to turn on, you still have your heightened senses up, correct, for sight?
Oh, I do.
Yeah, so you can add that.
That is 2 successes.
2 successes. 2 successes is enough because it is not so difficult to see. You witness that there is a woman who is a lot more visible now than you have seen her before. Her hair done in a tight bun, her style of dress somewhere around the 1900s. You recognize the form of Mary Fontaine, and she has the young form of Ricky strung up to a tree, and she is forcing him to watch the carnage that at least part of himself wrought again and again and again. And there is a giant creature next to her, its skin mottled green and distorted forms. You can't hear what she is saying at this point in time, but you see that what appears to be a doorway made out of darkness opens up near her as the creature begins stepping through it, and the doorway closes. At this point, Elijah, Nikolai, and Michaela, having successfully navigated your trials, you find yourself appearing next to Sakura. As the form of Mary Fontaine turns and looks at all of you, she adjusts her hand, and you see the ropes that are binding Ricky begin to pull out a bit more as his form is stretched a bit painfully. And we're gonna jump back outside for a second. The portal has closed. Sora, Kenny, and I wanted to say Michael because I was looking at the wrong name, but Quinn. There is this massive thing in front of you. Elise is on the ground, but you can hear, joining the fray shortly, is the form of Gerard Baxter, the sheriff, that seems to have, well, he's recognizable-ish, but his form is very large,
Horrid?
very disturbing. One might almost say horrid. One might almost say that his form is
Look at the
horrid.
random words.
Yeah, if you wanted to attach that word to it, one might almost call his form horrid, as he is rushing towards this giant creature. You will have an action. What would you like to do?
Sora would like to pull out his cell phone, point it towards the creature, says, Braxton, what is this? What is this? What? How do we stop this? How do we stop this?
As you are taking your phone out, you find that there is no service out here.
Oh!
You're in the swamp, my dude.
No! Oh. So he looks at the phone, he's like, T-Mobile, come on! I know you can do better than this. Don't let Verizon beat you. Please, please. Oh, okay. He looks down, he's like, how are we going to stop this? How are we going to stop this? He looks up at Lagatha like, should we go?
Does it look like it's got some sort of material form, or does it kind of look like shadowy? I mean, I know there's
it has material form.
And Quinn's gonna just shoot at it again. Like there's something new, big, and terrible looking that obviously is bad for business. And it was, now I know I wasn't able to see the portal, but like when the portal closed, did the room, like whatever that I was seeing that was where the portal was, that kind of like go away?
Yeah, that absolute darkness that was in that spot disappeared, and you noticed that the wind that was ever-present sucking in towards that direction seems to have disappeared as well.
So, seems like the darkness has taken shape. I don't know about you guys, but that thing seems bad, and
We gotta go. How do we stop that? Abraxas isn't here because for some reason T-Mobile doesn't want to work in a swap.
All right, Quinn. Make your shot there. Quinn is gonna make a shot.
3 successes.
3 successes. All right. It takes the shots like a champion,
Yeah, I'd imagine it would.
and a massive arm just comes swiping towards you. So you can make a Dex and Athletics roll there if you like.
0 successes.
Is it like a bestial failure or just
No,
0?
lowest is a 2.
Okay.
There were 2 2s though.
Quinn, you find yourself smacked and you go flying and slam into a tree. You take some physical damage for this. You take 2 points of superficial damage, but that is halved because you are. Oh, wait, is it halved? You're a thin blood.
But I have fortitude.
Okay.
I have 2 points
All
of
right.
fortitude.
So it
You
is
have
probably
fortitude, or you have the merit.
No, I have
Yeah.
2 points of fortitude. The actual discipline.
Fortitude as a power is different
I know.
from vampiric fortitude.
No, it's the discipline fortitude.
Right, but there's
of
a
the powers
thin blood
did you-
merit that
Right.
allows you to half
Oh yeah. I know.
superficial
Yeah.
damage.
No, I don't have that.
And they're different.
No,
Okay.
not that.
So which fortitude abilities do you have?
I have resilience and toughness.
Oh,
Those will probably
Be at least
those
pseudo
those
helpful.
those will factor in just because of fortitude. Luckily.
I said this guy's going to be so squishy. He needs to have something.
So you do take half of that.
Okay.
So you take 1 point of superficial damage, but you do also take 2 points of aggravated willpower damage.
Fun. Is there? I wish we had a separate area on here to mark down. I'm making notes about the aggravated willpower damage.
Yeah. All right. Lagatha looks up to you and says, "I'll do whatever you want me to do, Sora. If you want us to run, we run. If you want me to attack, I attack. I'll do what you want me to do."
can you bite him for me? But just be careful.
Sure. Go ahead and roll that as she is bounding towards this creature as the arm slams into Gwen and Gwen goes flying and
Yes, sir,
she is going to bite into it.
Quinn gets hit. You sure? Ooh. Smack.
Smack.
A Marvel movie sound effect. Okay, good. Good enough. Okay. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5 successes.
5 successes. Very
Mhm.
nice. All right. So it takes it like a champ.
Mhm.
And as Lagatha is biting into it and ripping out pieces of it, it moves another fist and it is going to slam down onto her form there. So you can have her move out of the way if you'd like.
Yes, please, thank you. I would definitely appreciate that. That nice pull was. Okay. Yeah, she's beefy. Uh-oh. Can dogs use willpower?
I don't think so.
Uh-oh.
I'm not entirely sure, but I don't think so.
I feel like in some certain encounters, I've seen dogs use willpower in the real world, so I don't see why not.
Because technically speaking,
I mean-
she is a ghoul. She's technically speaking a ghoul.
Well, and also, like, have you ever seen a dog whose owner was in danger that's, like, yelling at a lion or some crap? Like, they do some pretty vicious stuff. Like,
Zach's trying to keep the puppy alive. I'll allow it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, because that was a horrible.
No, I'll Google it after, and I'll send you a video. I'm
Okay.
not playing.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I entirely believe you, but I'm just thinking about game mechanics here. I'll allow it.
Oh, that was much better. Thank you. 4 success.
All right, Lagatha takes 2 points of superficial damage as she is punched away.
Okay.
And I don't think she can take willpower damage. I don't see how your ghoul dog is gonna express its nature and get back willpower. I don't know how that's gonna happen. So she'll just take the superficial damage. Kenny, you have a move that you can make.
I think you need to expand your mind. Animals can have ambitions.
Especially like
I'm going to okay. Help me understand the battlefield a bit more slightly. How close together are all of us? Because I know this thing is big, but it's also close enough that we can all be hit by its fist currently. So like we must be somewhat close together, right?
It has a couple of arms. It has one really long, really large, meaty arm. That is the one that whacked Quinn away. It has another sort of still big but more normal size arm. That's the one that it hit Lagatha with, because she is right up there. It has one very large weird leg, and it has another small little arm on its side.
How big would you say that this this other arm is? Like the longest one, how long does it go?
Gosh, that is...
Sorry for all the questions, but it's relevant.
Difficult for me to
describe
here.
5 meters, 10 meters? Like how big can it be?
And is it elastic? Because that's because if you
it
can
did
just
not
stretch
seem to be elastic. It was just very, very large. It is about...
Here, we'll do it this way.
It's about four. It would be about 4. That large, huge arm would be about 4 meters long.
Okay. We'll do it this way.
It would be like the diameter is going to be about 1.5 feet.
We'll do it this way. My intention is to physically pick up Elise and start moving her outside of like the immediate battlefield, and while like aiming with rapid reflex and firing backwards. So that's kind of the goal. I'll let you determine what dice are required to accomplish this.
We're going to say you're attempting to grab her, but you want to grab her quickly. So I know this is a weird pool, but I'm going to say Dex and Brawl for that.
Okay.
You can add the rapid reflexes there because you are attempting not to get hit and take advantage of this gap that Lagatha has made.
That is 4 successes.
All right, that is enough there. Let's see if it's as you are coming in closer to it. Just make another resolve and composure roll for me. You can add, if you have unswayable mind, you can add that to it. Just because this thing
smells mean. I get it.
Real bad. Yeah.
You're mean. It's fine. Just say you're mean. 5.
Yeah. 5. That is enough. You do not get affected by its sort of like horrible stench that is coming in there. So you manage to back away, and you're going to try and fire into this thing.
Mm-hmm. You ready for that part now?
Yep.
Not good enough. That's 5 successes.
5 successes. Excellent. All right. You are firing into this thing, and it is taking a whole number of shots, and you are managing to pull Elise out of the way as you see this spiked, armored, bony, rather large and gross, horrid-looking form of the sheriff come running in, and it is he takes a massive swipe at the thing as well as you are firing into it with 8 successes. As he slices down into the thing, the body starts to evaporate and dissolve, and we are going to transition back to the 4 that are in the abyss. All right, Sakura, I need you to make another composure and resolve roll for me as you see the tortured form of Ricky in front of you.
4.
4. Let's just see here. Honestly, right now it just pisses you off more than anything. You are fine.
Accurate.
And as the 4 others appear, or the 3 others appear around you, the form of Mary Fontaine says, "You've come looking for this wretched creature. Just like that filthy child of mine, this one is a perversion. Can you not see what it has done?"
Some others actually care about those kids, but I don't see you understanding that, so I'd like my son back.
And I would like him and that abomination of a child of mine to be no more. And she tightens her fist as the form of Ricky begins to be pulled a lot tighter.
Who did
all
Elijah
have
appear
an
next to?
You are right around Sakura.
Okay. If he's anywhere near Kolya, he's gonna rapid reflex, like, whack him in the back lightly for touching the door because he's annoyed with him, and then look at her and go, "Oh yeah, because you're gonna win Mother of the Year award." Like, who are you to tell other people how to parent their kids? You can't even parent your own. More like deadbeat mom of the year.
Sakura is very glad someone else picked up on heckling, because she was fully prepared to just aggravate the ghost alone.
Like, what in the world do you have against your own kid?
Charisma, or not charisma, make a manipulation and intimidation roll here.
Three. He's kind of pissed.
All right, 3. Okay, so you can see that she winces her head to the side a little bit and then turns towards you as a large chunk of debris from one of the buildings lifts into the air and comes flying towards you. So you can make a dexterity and athletics roll for me, please.
Rapid reflex out of the way.
Sure.
Three. Again, he's
3
mad.
successes. You manage to jump out of the way of this flying debris that has come zipping towards you. You can all notice that these ropes that have Ricky tied up are starting to pull tighter and tighter and tighter, and you can see that he is in a great deal of pain.
Does she look distracted at all when she's busy with Elijah?
She did look distracted, yes.
Elijah?
Full charge with fleetness.
When Elijah rights himself, he flips her off and goes, "You're a shit-ass parent. I had a daughter. I wouldn't say half the shit about my kid that you do about yours."
If I
Very
notice that, during the debris throwing thing, I would also attack on the opposite side that maybe Sakura is headed, just to see if I could like cut whatever the rope thing is while they're, while
Sakura's
So
Elijah
you
is.
full.
can
First.
make you can go ahead and make a Dex and melee roll there, and then Sakura, you can do you're wanting to pull him away. So again, it's a weird pull, but you're trying to pull him away. So we're gonna make this dexterity and brawl
What was my one again?
and
Dexterity and what?
melee.
Melee. Alright.
Yeah,
And while
and
all that's going on,
Does my
Nikolai
fleetness? Does my
it
fleetness?
applies.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
Nikolai is going to go ahead and slowly start walking towards Ricky. Because honestly, his assumption at this point is that everyone currently blasting forward is probably going to be serving as a distraction and not be able to accomplish getting to him. But while he's doing that, he is rousing the blood, and he's kind of got his hands clasped, and he seems to be massaging his index finger on his left hand with his right hand.
Okay.
My roll is 2 with a crit.
All right. So you
4.
are able to start cutting these ropes as Sakura is coming forward, and Elijah, go ahead and make another one of those manipulation and intimidation rolls there for actually, you know what? Because nobody ever uses this one's different. It's manipulation and etiquette.
You're a bad
You're
mom.
Elijah.
You have bad etiquette.
Something for manipulation. Okay, got hungrier. Eight with a messy crit.
Very good. Very good. So, she is. You can see that these words seem to be doing some kind of damage to her in this realm and space here. As you can see, parts of her form are beginning to waver. But the massacred aspect of it, you find yourself walking forward directly towards her, and you are continuing to yell obscenities at this woman as you are marching towards her. Meanwhile, Michaela and Sakura, you are able to pull Ricky off and off of this tree, and you are getting him away as our friend Nikolai is coming towards this woman. But Elijah, more chunks of these debris come flying out in the air and start heading towards you, so you can dodge that as well if you'd like.
Rapid reflexing stuff, get out of the way. He's pissed. He's reached a point where he's just mad now. Another 8 messy crit.
All right, that definitely beats her 5. So you are able to move those. And what are you yelling at this woman as Nikolai continues his deadly march towards her unnoticed at this point in time?
You know, back in my day, parents were not that close to their kids, but you take the ever-loving fucking cake out of all of us. I was a shit parent, I'll fucking admit that, but at least I loved my daughter. You obviously love yourself, and that's just bad parenting, you selfish bitch.
You have no idea what it was like to live in that house with the devil of a daughter. That thing did not deserve to breathe.
You saying that about your own kid, the child that you raised. Let me tell you, I don't care if my daughter ended up being, the worst person in the world. She's still my kid and I love her.
What is our friend Nikolai doing as he is pretty much closed the distance to this one?
I succeeded my rouse check and got 3 on the resolve plus protean for vicissitude.
Okay.
Essentially what he's doing is he's slowly walking forward and seemingly massaging his one index finger. Is he is one sacrificing a point of stamina as a redistribution into his strength, and then additional point of stamina as he uses the ability of weapons on his finger, specifically increasing the density of the cartilage in between all of the joints to stiffen it into essentially a solid mass, and then forming the tip of his index finger down into a sharp point. And once he reaches the figure here, he's going to attempt to stake them with his index finger.
All right. She is currently very distracted by trading parental insults here. So she does not have a dodge pool on this. You can go ahead and roll for it.
Right. I think I'm going to go ahead and blood surge on this, actually. So 7 successes with 2 crits. Or sorry, that would be 9 successes with 2 crits.
9 successes.
If I add that correctly.
As your hand stake, finger stake is jammed into the spectral but physical, here at least, form of Mary Fontaine in front of you. She screeches out in pain, and you all witness that the world that is around you begins to shake and shiver. I need everyone just to make me one composure and resolve roll, please.
Got 5 successes.
I'm spending a willpower point on this shit.
Okay.
That was garbage. Still not great, but 4 successes.
Okay. How about Sakura? I think you're
I was muted. 3.
all right. The sound pierces into your ears and into your forms, but you manage to shake it off as this world sort of dissolves around you, and you all find yourselves with Ricky in your arms, Sakura, back at the point that you'd started at, but there is no portal here.
The coin.
Yep.
Cool. I'm glad we remembered it.
Elijah's kind of like wiping his face because he was mad and crying. Just kind of like, can we please get out of here now? Can we please get out of here?
Sakura just has like a death grip on her kid in a hug, just like crying and just like letting everyone else do things. She's focused on her son right now.
And he does reach
Very-
over and whack Nikolai again.
You'd very
And
easily
I'm
be
letting
able
my
to
finger
tell.
slowly return to its natural form here.
So you don't have the film Nosferatu finger anymore. You have a normal.
So I
person.
say to everyone, do we hold hands? How does... I don't remember what he wants us to do. And this I say to Sakura.
You're muted. So.
He wasn't clear. Just she'll give her one of her hands and just keep a hold on Ricky. Just try.
Just hold your hands and believe we'll get out, I guess. Let's do that. So, I grab
Do,
Elijah's hand.
do you want me to
and-
click my heels together as well?
Shh. We're
You
gonna
might
do
like
this.
that.
He might be happy with that. Just hold hands. Let me get out of here. And everybody, like whoever isn't holding somebody's hand, whatever is gonna hold hands. And then I just say, believe out loud. And I go, believe. Deep inside, I'm just like, I'm saying deep inside, like, I don't know if this is gonna work, but you said that faith is the way out. So I am gonna have faith in my abilities to force ourselves out. So that is what I say inside my hand.
Make a resolve and composure roll.
Okie dokie. That is 6 success with 2 crits.
You hear a bit of a laugh form in your head. It's not exactly the way I imagined you'd do this, but fair enough. And the 5 of you, although Ricky wouldn't notice this as you would easily see, Sakura, that he is indeed in torpor. The 5 of you would see that the coin begins to glow, a very bright glow. And the light encompasses your entire bodies, and it almost feels as if you disappear for a moment. And to those of you who are outside the portal, that you've just witnessed the combined efforts of taking down this gargantuan thing, you see that a bright light begins to resolve in the area that the portal was at. And you see that your poetry mates have come back together. And that is where we are going to end book 1 of Blood on the Bayou. Thank you all so much for joining us on this very, very fun journey. And we are really looking forward to our character epilogues, which we are going to be putting up on Patreon very soon at all tiers. So you will get exclusive access to those as soon as we have filmed and uploaded them, and they will be coming out also later down the line for non-Patreon members as well. Thank you so much for joining on this season, and a big thank you to the man who makes the music that we've been using for the background music today, which is Alexander Avery, for letting us use the music on the channel. Thank you so much. Make sure to check out his YouTube channel. He's on SoundCloud, he's on Spotify, all those things. Really, really cool music for background stuff. So if you're playing RPGs or anything, especially if things are like spy-like or tactical, he has some amazing stealth tracks. We love you very much. And is it October? Not yet.